Hey, folks, this is the Wayne S. Pierce Show podcast for the 21st, there we go, 21st of October 2014. How y'all doing today? Doing good. Lots of things going on, and as I said before on previous podcasts or the live broadcast on the Views Expressed, things seem to be changing seemingly every 5 minutes, and it does affect what we do. Now, the question is, what are we going to do about it? I mean, if it negatively affects us and it negatively affects the outcome, what are we going to do? Seriously. So, that kind of thing. So I will, talk about that and talk about a few other things and hopefully get to some of the news and stop my rambling. So I'll be back right after this.
Take the last train to Boston. See them both run. He's leaving. On that midnight train to Georgia.
Sarasota's home for R&B and soul. The Razor Blade Express with Dave the Rave.
And will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States.
the Constitution of the United States.
So help you God.
So help me God.
Damn politicians. My mother always told me this country would be screwed if the liberals had their way. The only sanity I get is when I listen to Jeff Wagner on the Conservative Voice, only on the Conservative Radio Network.
Eastland Radio Repertory Theater is looking for you. Are you a voice actor? Do you want to hone your abilities? Please send your audition clips to Eastland Radio Theater at USA.com. We are currently looking for voice actors to fill certain character roles in an ongoing radio play in development. Please send your audition clips to Eastland Radio Theater at USA.com. Hey, folks, welcome back. This is the Wayne S. Pierce Show for the 21st of October, 2014. It is one of those days. It's Tuesday. How can we, believe it or not, believe what you want, because you're going to anyway, but how can we stop what is happening? How can we put the brakes on the total tyranny that is now engulfing the United States? Well, word has it that we can't. Word has it that it's going to, the political and economic and basically the structure, the infrastructure of the United States is going to have to collapse before we can ever rebuild it again, and unfortunately I do believe that's true. You look at great nations across the world in our past, in our history, the Roman Empire, the British Empire, the Chinese empire as well, the German Empire. They've all had to collapse under their self-inflicted nonsense, and They've imploded upon themselves as a result of the cancerous elements within the system. And therefore, they had to collapse because there was no other place to go but down. And as I've said many times before about the state of California, I used to say California is in the toilet waiting for somebody to push the handle. Folks, it's been pushed. It has been pushed, and so America is going down the toilet as well. It's not so much a matter of if, And it's not so much a matter of when. We just have to recognize the fact that it has happened. When you look at the political structure of this nation, you see one thing and one thing only: progressives in control. There is no two-party system. Get it out of your head. It is a progressive party which seeks to destroy the sovereignty of what your great-great-great-grandfathers have built and what has been the norm for the last 238 years. Now, you can say whatever you want. You can put yourself in a position to where you can identify the problems facing the nation, but you cannot find any solutions. Do I have solutions? No, but I've got ideas that maybe somebody might have, and we can come together and find a way to, make those ideas become something. Bring those ideas to the forefront, take them off the drawing board, turn them into something real. And literally, a lot of people who I've talked to have said the same thing. We're screwed. We're absolutely, positively, 100% and utterly screwed because of this current regime that is residing in the White House and in our nation's capital. I won't pull any punches ever, folks. I'm going to, tell it like it is and pretty much verbally strike you intellectually between the eyes. And if you can't get it, I don't know what to tell you. I do hopefully encourage you to go out and look this stuff up yourself and decide and draw your own conclusions and decide for yourself what you want to believe. I mean, that's entirely the purpose of this show, is to tell you what's going on, but understanding that you have a different perspective than I do, and I just encourage you to go out and look this stuff up. I heard something, and you will hear it today as well, that there was a show I listen to almost every morning, depending on what I do. And there was a guest on this show that pretty much tore the veil to show exactly what I've been talking about, or some of what I've been talking about. And that is who's pushing the buttons and pulling the handles. And this person literally has, how can I put this? This person has given the federal government a black eye, and that's just the way it is. Actually, this person, through this program that I listened to this morning, and probably through other programs that she's been on, has really damaged the infrastructure of the regime. Now, of course, also keep this in mind, that we can talk about anything we want. We can, describe things, have our observations, have our opinions based upon those observations. But if you don't have any tangible evidence in your hands to prove any of it, what good is it? It's only your word. But this person reveals documents. This is what I say, prove yourself right. This woman worked, it's a woman that was on the show. This woman worked in the federal government, in deep federal, with federal contractors and such, for over 25 years. Okay? And has developed a rapport with certain people on the inside, and she has gotten personally herself has gotten information that can land every single member of Congress in prison. This is how powerful this information is. Okay? Now, that's a lot to say. But if you go to theguerrillamedianetwork.com and you look to you look for the Pete Santilli Show for today's date, you will see who he had on the show today. And all I can say is this. After listening to what was there and what the guest was talking about and checking out the information that this person put forth on the Pete Santilli Show, I can tell you right now, if you are not pissed off and ready to walk out your door and go protest your city, your state, your county, and your federal government, you have no patriotism within you to defend your nation with. Okay? And this not only affects certain groups of people specifically, but this affects everyone around them. Okay? So go look it up. I will, as soon as their show is up, the Pete Santilli Show is up, I will go and download the show, and I will upload it and have it on the Free America Radio Network as well. And I will make sure, literally, that I can even embed the show. So, if, I'm saying if, I'm just saying if, because everybody has a different perspective. If it is possible, okay, if it is possible for you to see this show, because it's on YouTube as well, you can see it, I'd advise you and really encourage you to go look this up. The information that is provided on the show. Because I did. And let me tell you something. I want to walk out this door right now and I want to go protest. Because this is bullcrap what they're doing to us. Okay? Absolute bullcrap. Okay? And if after you watch or hear this information that this person on the Pete Santilli Show has provided, if after you hear this you're not completely turned around and convinced of the things that I've said, that Alex Jones has said, that Nick Tucker has said, that Brian Lang has said, if you're not convinced that the government that you feel is doing the best they can for you is not totally and absolutely corrupt and does not care about you, if you're not convinced of that, I don't know what to tell you. It is that important. Now, I talked 15 minutes about this already, and I want to encourage you to go to either YouTube or to the Guerrilla Media Network and listen to the archive presentation of the Pete Santilli Show, because he has a guest on that specifically talks about drones and all of that. And much, 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 much more than that as well. I want to make sure that you understand what the Views Expressed show is all about. I read articles, I present them to you. I give you my opinions on them. I break them down, because I know we're all meat and potatoes folk here. We're all, people that understand what's going on, but we don't like the legalese or the, we don't want to read between the lines. We just want it straightforward and honest, right? We understand this. So this is what I try to do, sharing with you one fact at a time. I share with you the truth one fact at a time, and hopefully I get enough information to put the puzzle pieces together to show you what's going on. And hopefully you're thinking about it or convinced about what's going on. And that's what I do on this show. Do I have the right answers? I don't know if they're right or wrong. But I have ideas and I have certain answers to certain things. Whether or not you think they're wrong, that's entirely up to your own understanding and how you interpret it. It's strictly up to you. This is why I encourage you to go out and look this stuff up yourself. It's that simple. I'm not here to give you silver platter answers. I'm here to guide you through all of this mess. I'm here to tear away the veil and the curtain to show you who's pushing the buttons and pulling the handles. That's what I do. Whether I'm right or wrong, that's up to you and what your understanding of it is and how you interpret it. We can both be looking at the same things, but you might have something totally different that you interpret this as. We can both see the red tether ball, you remember that when you were a kid, on the pole, but you might see something different. Okay? I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying your perspective's a lot different than mine. And what you understand about it is probably a lot different than mine as well. And how you interpret it will result in how you convey the message. I'm just sharing with you one fact at a time from the articles I read, and I give you my opinions on it. And that's okay. So anybody who thinks that I'm right or wrong, well, you better think again. If for some reason the information I have is not helping you secure a place in your heart to understand what this government is doing against you, and if you are not in the mindset of preparing for what's coming down the line, your next step in that parade is wiping your feet off on a FEMA camp, on the welcome mat at a FEMA camp near you. On a family, what is that? What do they call that? A family residential facility. That's what they call them now. In the 1990s, when Bill Clinton closed up all kinds of military bases, what do you think they're going to do with those? Okay? What do you think they're going to do with those? The old base that I was at in Rantoul, Illinois, Chanute Air Force Base, is closed down. Why? It was in a strategic area in Champaign, Illinois, near Champaign, Illinois. A strategic area, and they shut it down. Honestly, I don't know how strategic it was, but it was in a location which would have, been a very good location if crap hit the fan. But they shut it down. Bill Clinton in the 90s did this, folks. But anyway, I'm rambling. I'm telling you things that you probably already know. So let me move on to some of the news before the bottom of the hour. Yes, taking a break at the bottom of the hour. You were there. Anyway. Chris Christie, it's time to start offending people. What? I don't know, man. Let's take a look at it. From thenationaljournal.com. He says, I don't care if I'm loved. I want to be respected. Well, don't you think both of those go hand in hand there, Mr. Christie? New Jersey Governor Chris Christie launched a preemptive strike Tuesday against some potential Republican rivals for the White House, saying the experiment of promoting a lawmaker to president has failed and arguing that Republicans must nominate a governor in 2016. Christie, chairman of the Republican Governors Association, began a speech to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce in Washington by lauding his counterparts across the country. Then he turned on a dime, pivoting in apparently premeditated fashion from 2014 to 2016. He urged attendees to support GOP governors this fall, not only to help them win election or re-election, he said, but to build a roster of credible presidential contenders. Quote, "To have any chance of electing a Republican president, there's a bunch of things we need to do, but the first is to have a good bench of Republican candidates," Christie said. "And I'm convinced that the next president of the United States is going to be a governor and needs to be," unquote. Christie continued, quote, "We have an experiment of a legislator who has never run anything getting on-the-job training in the White House. It has not been pretty, and so we need to have a big and broad bench of good, experienced Republican governors to select from in 2016, unquote. The remarks may well represent Christie's most forceful intra-party offensive to date, a preemptive and unprompted attack against unnamed legislators, including Senators Rand Paul, Marco Rubio, and Ted Cruz, who almost certainly will be competing with him in 2016. In a brief interview in the National Journal after his speech, Christie was unapologetic about his remarks and acknowledged they wouldn't be well received by certain presidential aspirants. Quote, "Listen, I just say what I believe, and whoever is offended, unquote," Christie said. Christie already has publicly feuded with Paul, added with a sly smile, quote, "Everybody's entitled to their opinion," unquote. Christie was not shy about sharing his opinions during a 30-minute appearance. His speech, ostensibly about legal reform, touched briefly on frivolous lawsuits, but was broadly crafted to sell his appeal as a full-spectrum conservative Republican governor. That's in quotes. Speaking to an audience of influential Republicans, including a bevy of well-heeled donors, the governor repeatedly contrasted his record of bipartisan results in New Jersey against the dysfunctional climate of Washington. Quote, "I'm tired of listening to people complain about how we can't get anything done. The fact of the matter is, if you want to get something done, you need to lead," unquote. Christie said. He slammed both President Obama and Congress, adding emphatically, quote, "No more excuses for not getting things done," unquote. Christie boasted about working on a bipartisan basis in New Jersey, but he reserved specifics for the red meat course of his speech, addressing tort reform, repealing the Affordable Care Act, and taking on the teachers' union. Christie's remark about education reform provoked something of a shouting match with an audience member who asked Christie about homeless children getting lost in the education system. When the man attempted to rebuke Christie's response, the governor shouted him down, saying, "This is an answer to your question. It's not a debate, okay?" Appropriately, Christie used his speech to preview a potential slogan for his 2016 campaign. "It's time to start offending people." Telling hard truths to the American voter, Christie promised the establishment-friendly crowd is how he built crossover appeal and won a re-election easily in a dark blue state. Quote, "Pain will be involved. Some people will be unhappy," unquote, Christie said, speaking slowly for emphasis. "And if you're in these jobs so that everybody will love you, go home," unquote. He paused, then added, quote, "I don't care if I'm loved. I want to be respected," unquote. And that's from thenationaljournal.com by Tim Alberta. So thank you, Tim. Appreciate that over there at nationaljournal.com. Whoops. I'll put that on the Wayne S. Pierce Show Facebook page so you guys can read that yourself. I have to say this because it is part and parcel of this political environment and atmosphere, and that is there's not one candidate on either side. Like I said, there is no two-party system. There is not one candidate on either side that I like. So for me to sit there and say, well, yeah, I'm going to vote for Chris Christie or I'm going to vote for this person, it doesn't matter, folks. Okay? It doesn't matter. You ever see, everybody likes football, right? Well, not everybody, but people that like football know they have a color commentator. John Madden comes to mind. And they have other people that talk about the game, talk about statistics, talk about all that. But they have one guy in the booth that knows everything about the game, knows who's what, where, why, how, where the team is in the line to the Super Bowl, whatever it is. But you have two or three other guys sitting next to him that just, they got this little bit of information, that little bit of information, and this, that, and the other thing, and then you have the color commentator. Well, when you look at this whole political arena and look at this political football game, because they like throwing passes and handing stuff off and passing a buck and this kind of thing, you have to understand where all of this, what all of this rhetoric is all about. There's one person that says, here is this and this is how it is. Then you have two or three other people, candidates, who are saying, that person's wrong, this person's wrong, I'm pointing my finger over there and berating him and blah, blah, blah. So you've got all that. This is why the political field is so confusing around midterms and around the general elections, because no one knows what the hell is going on. Because you have all these politicians, Chris Christie included, who are throwing all of this in the mix and going from there. Now, Christie talked about leading. We need somebody to lead. Well, didn't Joe Biden say that? I wonder. But anyway, after the bottom of the if I can talk, after the bottom of the hour break, I'll come back and I'll get into some more news and some other things as well. And I don't know where else to go. And I'm going to talk about the border. Okay? I'm going to talk about the border. Breitbart has an article that I want to talk about. Bottom line is, folks, we all have to know what's going on. And if you'd rather have your beer and sit down and watch ESPN and kick your feet up, then you go right ahead and do that. Just turn this off and just go walk over and turn on ESPN. I'll wait. But let me point out something very, very crucial. Just because you close your eyes doesn't mean the bad things are going to go away. You can't ignore this, folks. It's out there in front of your face. It's right there in front of your face. That's the way it is. You're never going to get around it until you put your feet down and say, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take this anymore. That line out of the movie Network. So after the break, I'll come back. We'll get into some more stuff over at Breitbart.com as well. And I'll tell you a few other things. Talk to you in a bit. Be right back. Sit tight. I shall return. This is the Free America Radio Network. freeamericaradio.us. With her unique, fast-paced, witty sarcasm, Angel Clark brings you the news of the day with a creative twist. Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern on radiofreedom.us. You can also listen to her live on the Liberty Radio Network at lrn.fm.
Lock it on to the best station on the net.
The Free America Radio Network. Are you a filmmaker and want to make your epic feature film with no money, some money, and or all the money in the world? Listen to Christopher J. Taylor as he discusses everything you need to know about filmmaking and more on Film 101 on HTLA973.com. I am back. How are you? This is the Wayne S. Pierce Show for the 21st of October 2014. Hey, come join me on the 29th, 30th, and 31st for a Halloween special over at Eastland Radio Theater on Spreaker.com, eastlandradiotheater.weebly.com. And did I say that already? That's okay. Anyway, it is a Halloween special. If I can get my act together and finish the production on one of the radio plays that I wrote, you will hear that. If not, I do have a backup. 29th, 30th, and 31st of October, Halloween special on Eastland Radio Theater on Spreaker.com and also on eastlandradiotheater.weebly.com, and it's going to be at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. I'd like you to go check it out, and if you like it, let me know. It's going to be live, so I will be in the chat room on the website at eastlandradiotheater.weebly.com, and yeah, it's going to be fun, I believe, I hope. I've got 3 radio plays that I'm going to play those nights, and I will be live all 3 nights. That's next Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And I do believe, let me look at the calendar here, and yes, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern, eastlandradiotheater.weebly.com. Some Halloween specials for you, so come join me. And let me also go here. If you want the truth, then you want the honesty underneath the reality. Or you want the reality underneath the honesty. Either way, the reality underneath the honesty. LiveTruthRadio.com. Brian Lang over there. Listen to Live Truth Radio with your host, Brian Lang, talking to you about what's going on. He's had some situations happen, and he needs your support. So please go to LiveTruthRadio.com. Check out how you can support that network as well. And also go to CrazyWolfRadio.net. CrazyWolfRadio.net. Listen to Bob Brutus talk about who is behind the curtain and who is the puppet masters and who is controlling you on every single level. So what I talk about is just a small portion of it. What Pete Santilli talks about is just a portion of it. Go to Guerrilla Media Network and look and listen to today's episode. And I got to tell you, man, if you're not pissed and ready to run out the door and start protesting the government, then yeah, you're not a patriot. You're a coward. And I'll say it again, you're not a patriot, you're a coward. Okay? If you're not willing to do what needs to be done to protect this country, to all you military folks out there who are not cowards, I applaud you. You need to do more. You've done it before. I know you can do it again. I'm right there with you. Hey, you know, let's go. So anyway, again, You can go to GorillaMediaNetwork.com, or make it even easier for you, GMN.is, to listen to today's broadcast of the Pete Santilli Show. You can also find the Pete Santilli Show on Spreaker.com. And, I'll tell you what, you are going to be pissed when you listen to one of his guests he had on today. About the first segment, the first hour, I think, or the second hour of the show. And, it's interesting. So, go check out Pete Santilli Show, GorillaMediaNetwork.com. Go check out Bob Brutus at CrazyWolfRadio.net. And also, go check out Brian Lang at LiveTruthRadio.com. There's some promos for you there. So, anyway, the thing that I want to guide your attention to is Breitbart.com. I'm going to put this link up on the Wayne S. Pierce Show Facebook page as soon as I get the Facebook page up here. And if you'd like to follow along with the bouncing ball, please do. Breitbart.com, Sheriff Arpaio. Border tension so high, top U.S. law enforcement officials afraid to enter Mexico. There's a video there you might want to check out. Tuesday on Newsmax TV, America's Forum, Maricopa County, Arizona Sheriff Joe Arpaio said he was unable to convince top U.S. law enforcement officials to step foot inside of Mexico to try and work on border security issues. While trying to work on initiatives to help stop the flow of illegal immigrants and drugs flooding our border with Mexico, Arpaio said, quote, "I'll tell you what's sad. All the top law enforcement officials told me, don't go into Mexico," unquote. Quote, "Isn't that sad? Law enforcement is afraid to cross the border and go into Mexico. I just can't believe it," unquote. He added, quote, "I did talk to 4 federal officers. I had to stick my arm through the fence to shake their hands." Now, this is interesting. Whoops. God, I hate when I close a tab. This is interesting because Arpaio has proven, and his investigators have proven, that Barack Obama's birth certificate and his identity are completely and utterly fake. Okay, so that's on him. You don't have to try to convince me otherwise. I already know he's fake. From the Examiner, WashingtonExaminer.com, Feds, quote, "Another potential surge," unquote, "coming, more asylum officers hired." Okay. And says here, Paul Bedard over at WashingtonExaminer.com, as President Obama readies his post-election immigration plan expected to clear a path for citizenship for millions of illegals, his immigration czar on Tuesday said that the border is bracing for another surge of undocumented children, raising this year's wave across the southern border to some 130,000. Okay, that's a lot of people, folks, coming across that border. Okay. And we have to get people down there to shut that border. We, the people, you, I, the state's constitutional militias, we have to go down there, period. We have to even get the constitutional citizens militia down there. Are they one and the same? I don't know. But we have to get them down there and close that damn border, period. Okay? Leon Rodriguez, the new director of the U.S. Citizens and Immigration Services, said that the federal government is already working to, quote, "prepare for another potential surge," unquote, across the border. Part of that preparation includes a new focus on asylum requests and clearing the backlog of 400,000 claims. Noting this year's historic wave of immigrants across the Mexico-U.S. border, Rodriguez said, quote, in order to process individuals more efficiently at the border, the unaccompanied children presenting claims we have had to redeploy. We're also hiring more asylum officers, unquote. He added, quote, we do have a lot of work to catch up, unquote. I'll put that one on the Wayne S. Pierce Show Facebook page so you can check that out as well. Hey, like the page, too. Go to Facebook, look up the Wayne S. Pierce Show, and like the page. Tell me what you think. Please, if you would. Thank you. Appreciate that. So what do we do? I mean, how do we get to that point? How did we get to that point where we just allow all this stuff to happen? Well, we got to that point because we got complacent. And then after complacency comes apathy. And then we just went, screw it, our government knows what they're doing. Well, that's because you were brainwashed into thinking that the government is Messiah and that they'll take care of everything and you don't have to lift a finger to do it. While at the same time, you're paying taxes for people to sit on your butt. To sit on their butt, not your butt, you're working. You're paying taxes into a system that is, number one, corrupt, number two, imploding, and number three, cancerous, and all three of those things are bad. So you've got people sitting on their ass doing nothing. You know, there's 92 million people out of work, or probably more, depending on the figures you look at, and you're paying for that, folks. You hardworking folks are paying for that. I don't care if you're working part-time at 25 hours a week. Your taxes are paying for someone to sit on their butt. Even if that person is in your own family, your husband, your wife, whatever. Because we have allowed this. Not that your husband or wife are doing nothing at home. They're probably mowing the lawn, doing the dishes, whatever, taking care of the kids. That's awesome. But look at the people that take their EBT Lone Star cards, their SNAP benefits and all of that, and you and I work our butts off to go out and hopefully get a pound of hamburger to make it home so that we can eat, when these folks are going and buying lobster and wine. I don't think you can buy alcohol with the SNAP card. I'm just saying, this is what's happening, and we have allowed it. We have allowed it. I don't know how else to put it. We have allowed it. And you're going to sit there and say, well, you know, the president's doing just fine. No, he's not. He's an idiot. He's a Manchurian candidate. He's a puppet taking up the suit at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Okay? That's what he is. And if the NSA hears this, I really don't care. They're a bunch of freaking idiots anyway. They're morons. They have no guts. They have no balls. And they have no courage at all to stand up to their bosses and say, no, we're not going to do this against the American people. That's against the Constitution prior to 1871. We're not going to do this anymore. They don't have the balls to do that. You know why? Because they're controlled. By the way, when you go to the Pete Santilli Show at the Guerrilla Media Network and you listen to today's episode, you will get chapter and verse as to where your information goes. Okay? You go to the bank, you cash a check, you go to DMV, you get your license, you do all that, you register your car, blah, blah, blah. You have your cell phone, you get all that. Guess what? In short, all of that information goes to the Department of Homeland Security. That's where it goes. Go listen to the Pete Santilli Show today. Okay? It's on Spreaker.com. You can find it there too. The Pete Santilli Show. Yeah. Go to about the second hour and listen to it. Okay? I'm just telling you. This is what's happening. I share with you the truth, one fact at a time. Okay? Now, here's where the morons in Washington, D.C. think that they need to take your money and do something with it. They think you're stupid enough not to figure this out, is what I'm saying. And they're going to take your money and use it against your will to do things you don't want them to do because they're putting their big middle finger in your face and saying, you gave us the money, we're going to do whatever we want. From Penny Starr over at cnsnews.com. State Department spends $375,000 to beef up border security in Ukraine. This is from the 16th of October, a few days ago. 5 days ago. According to the Federal Budget Opportunities website, the State Department is spending $357,000 on sport utility vehicles to beef up security on Ukraine's border. The website FedBizOpps, two P's, FedBizOpps.gov, FedBizOpps.gov, keeps a running tally on contracts and acquisitions by the federal government. On Friday at 5:55 a.m., a notice was posted announcing that $357,000 was awarded to a Ukrainian company for vehicles to be used by Ukraine's State Border Guard Service. The notice does not say how many vehicles will be purchased with the funds, although the title of the announcement states sport utility vehicles, which implies more than one vehicle will be paid for by the federal agency. The contract was conducted through the U.S. Regional Procurement Support Office in Frankfurt, Germany, according to the notice. CNSNews.com asked the State Department a series of questions, and the agency referred the questions to the U.S. Consulate in Frankfurt. The U.S. Consulate in Frankfurt referred the questions back to the State Department. The following questions were not answered by the federal government or its consulate in Germany. 1. What is the source of the funding? 2. How many vehicles are being purchased? 3. What are the vehicles going to be used for? 4. Why is the State Department spending taxpayer money to secure a foreign border? Good question. I'll put this up on the Wayne S. Pierce Show Facebook page. Check it out. I'll probably be talking about that one on the Views Express Live today because that's just really stupid. $357,000? Really? On what? I don't get it. On what? To secure somebody else's border? $357,000 can go pay for, and I could be wrong in this, 10 border security agents in the southern border of the United States of America. So you tell me why your tax money is being spent at the tune of $357,000 to secure a border in the Ukraine. Can you help me figure that one out? Because I think that's really stupid. Give me the $357,000. I can create a business and hire a few folks. But no. Now, get this. You want to know where all your tax money is going, or most of your tax money is going? Seriously? As soon as the page comes up. From freebeacon.com. Afghan poppy cultivation at quote-unquote all-time high. Cigar, S-I-G-A-R. U.S. has spent $7.6 billion on counter-narco ops. Adam Credo over there at the freebeacon.com wrote this today. Cultivation of the illegal poppy plant in Afghanistan has reached an all-time high following a $7.6 billion counter-narcotics campaign paid for by the United States, according to the government oversight investigators. Despite the spending to combat growth of the poppy plant, which is used to make drugs such as opium and heroin, cultivation has reached an all-time high, especially in places once declared poppy-free, according to the new report by the Special Inspector General for Afghanistan Reconstruction. Quote, after a decade of reconstruction and over $7 billion in counter-narcotics efforts, poppy cultivation levels are at an all-time high, unquote, Cigar concluded in its report released Wednesday. The findings have caused concern in the effectiveness of the United States' efforts to stymie poppy production, Cigar concluded levels of poppy farming have not been this high since 2007, according to Cigar, and, quote, with deteriorating security in many parts of the rural Afghanistan and low levels of eradication of poppy fields, further increases in cultivation are likely in 2014, Cigar informed the Defense and Justice Departments in a recent alert. Afghanistan has experienced a 50% increase in poppy-related proceeds from 2012 to 2013 as a result of the farming boom, according to the report. Quote, despite the significant financial expenditure, opium poppy cultivation has far exceeded previous records, unquote, according to Cigar. I'm going to say this, years ago, probably just after Obama got elected, didn't Geraldo Rivera do an interview with a general down there at the poppy fields where the Army is protecting those fields? The statistics show that prior to our military going into Afghanistan, prior to Obama's election, drug cultivation was way down, somewhere about 10% worldwide of the material coming out of Afghanistan going all over the world. Now it's upwards to 70, 80, 90%. So yeah, and the military's protecting. Oh, we're protecting their livelihood. No, you're running the drugs. You're securing the positions of these countries for the drugs to go in there. You're sending the weapons and the money for them to protect themselves as well. Don't give me this crap that there is a war on drugs. The war on drugs is done. It's false. It's fake. But you can figure that one out on your own. What do we do, folks? I mean, I asked that question at the beginning of the show. What do we do? If at some point we just get seriously tired and say, I've had enough, then what do you do? I mean, we can, pardon my language, bitch, moan, and groan all we want, but if we don't come up with answers, we're not gonna have such a great day tomorrow, are we? Fact of the matter is that everything is falling apart. Everything is falling apart. Everything is falling apart. You know those metal sheds that you put up in your backyard for your gardening supplies and all that? What if you were the only one putting it up? You'd be putting up one wall while the other wall falls over. You'll be putting up the roof while part of the other side of the roof falls down. And you're the only one doing this. It's falling apart, folks. This government is done. Washington, D.C. has stepped all over the Constitution and Bill of Rights, has ran it through the shredder many, many times, has looked at you, gave you the big middle finger, and now is telling you, give us the money so we can secure a border in Ukraine. Give us $357,000 so we can secure a border in the Ukraine. When we should be securing our southern borders today. What do I see, folks? What do I see? I see a massive, 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 massive revolution about ready to take place. Because they know, the government, Washington, D.C., the military-industrial complex, there's a lot of good people in those areas, folks. A lot of good people. But these good people better get balls and get a backbone and go in there to the bad people and have them arrested, period. I don't know anybody that wants to do that because they don't want to lose their cushy job. Well, then some of the, libertarian candidates better encourage the good cops to go in and arrest the bad cops. Some of these politicians in Washington, D.C. better get up off of their hands and start doing what has to be done to get rid of this president. Impeach him already. Throw his ass in jail. There's one congressman that has already filed a deportation lawsuit against Obama, who is found out, and it's on record, that he's not a citizen. So I don't want to hear it anymore. He's not a citizen. I don't give a crap how many times you hear Glenn Beck say he is. No, he's not. Look it up. I challenge anybody who listens to Glenn Beck, including myself, to show him the information and tell him that the president is not a citizen. Go ahead. I challenge anybody to do that. Okay? I don't know anybody that has the balls to stand up to any of these radio hosts and say, hey, listen, here's the truth. I know that myself, Nick Tucker, Brian Lang, Brian Keller, Bob Brutus, Pete Santilli, will stand up in these politicians' faces and say, you got one choice and one choice only, and that choice is this. We the people rule. You either do what we say or we will arrest you. Period. You have committed treason against humanity in the United States, and we've had enough. And I think I've already said it on my behalf. The politicians in Nevada better wake the hell up now, because midterms are coming up, and if you're just going to bow down to your New World Order handlers, then guess what? We'll pick your asses up and kick your ass out of office. And when you're no longer a politician, we're going to throw your ass in jail for treason against people of the state of Nevada. Now start doing what is right. I don't like being this aggressive. I don't like being, all up in people's faces. I do believe in the goodness of the heart of the people to do the right thing by common sense and logic. And following their intuition, obviously. But you have to do what's right. I don't know if Governor Brian Sandoval has a backbone at all. I haven't talked to him. I haven't talked to the lieutenant governor. I haven't talked to the state attorney general. I haven't talked to any of these politicians. But their actions are speaking louder than words. Their inaction speaks louder than words. And the midterms are coming up. And frankly, from my point of view, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to make changes in this state. I can tell you that right now. But with everything that has come out, speaking of Nevada, with everything that has come out about Harry Reid and all of that and all of his bullcrap things that he's doing, if he is reelected, then the how can I put this? Then the times that I've said that the elections are rigged is going to be verified by the fact that there's not one Nevadan that will have the balls to vote that jackass out of office. If he gets reelected, the system is truly rigged, period. And I will hold every single every legislator in Nevada, including Congress, including Brian Sandoval, the governor of the state of Nevada, accountable for the criminal activities in the voting of the citizens of Nevada. Not the citizens themselves, but in the process, the voting machines, the electronic voting machines, all of that, it's all rigged. I don't care if you have to get a pencil and mark in a little circle who you want to vote for. That's rigged as well. It doesn't matter, okay? By the way, let me just make this statement here. It probably won't take this midterm election to verify what I already know, which is the system is rigged. It probably won't take that. I already know the system's rigged. But there's not one person that will stand up and have the balls to stop it, including Governor Brian Sandoval. Okay? Hey, I'm going to get out of here. This is the Wayne S. Pierce Show. The Wayne S. Pierce Show.weebly.com is the website. You can email me at freeamericaradio@usa.com. freeamericaradio@usa.com. Come join me on the Views Express live today at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern on the Free America Radio Network at freeamericaradio.us.